Start recording.
Okay, fan.
Okay, we're going.
Okay, so first of all, on behalf of MAPS Coaching, thanks for everybody being on the call today and furthering in this area of tech, right? And I want to welcome Jessica Fox. So this is the first time we've actually had a visual on each other, which is awesome. And she's from the Clearwater, Florida Market Center. So appreciate you being on the call today. I saw your Zoom recruiting piece through your coach and really thrilled with it. And you were sharing how far you've come with this, even since we talked probably a month ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not familiar with Jessica, I mean, great source for us. She's averaging 20 recruits a month in 2018. Her owner profit was up 42%, and her profit share was up 51%. So congratulations, girl. Great job on 2018 results for your market center and your team. So.
Thanks. So we're going to role play this, aren't we?
Yes, we are, girl. So on today's call, we're all here to talk about the best practices for Zoom recruiting. So just on your journey, we're all on the same journey, right? On adopting tech and moving towards Zoom recruiting and to explain the fourth industrial revolution.
So the reality, though, is it's always best to be face-to-face with someone, and I find one of my challenges currently is getting folks to meet with me, and I know we all have that same challenge. I'm having a challenge getting people to even answer their telephone. And so Kimberly and I actually have done this quite a bit together and practiced. And what I did is I started by practicing this presentation on my own agents, and by doing so, got them up to speed about what's going on and got more clout and validity with them first. And it helped build a relationship where now I'm getting better referrals. And those appointments are always much easier to set than chasing folks that don't know you. So I don't only do this. Obviously, if I have the opportunity to meet with someone in person, that would be the ideal. And I'll tell you that I actually been tracking my numbers. This month, we'll be grossing 24, and 5 of those are market share. And 3 of the 5 I did included and incorporated Zoom in some way. So a couple of them I did a mini Zoom, and then they said, yeah, let's meet, let's have a real appointment. And one of them I Zoomed for 37 minutes, and he signed. And he's a capper. He's been an agent for 17 years. He's kind of ironically, he's kind of a technology curmudgeon. And he's like, we don't need this. And, more and more I showed him, the more and more he's like, whoa. And 37 minutes later, he's like, yep, let's do this. And he signed in this month. So he was my first capper in this month. So, I'm not saying replace what you're doing, but I'm saying this might be a good alternative or another way to get in front of people and really get a true appointment. And yet you can close someone on Zoom. So just food for thought.
And what was his volume? I think we talked about this.
He was a capper. He did about 4 million in volume.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So yeah, I'm thinking about the mergers that we have going on currently with Remax.
It's a little bit hard to hear you, Susan, just so you're aware. If you want to speak up a little bit, I can barely hear you.
How's that?
Yep, better.
Beautiful. So given the current relationships that have been struck with Coldwell Banker, Realty, also with Remax, how is that speeding up the urgency to tell our tech story in your eyes?
Yeah, and it's making it easy and fun. So one of the first ways I got appointments was I was Facebook messaging a handful of agents that I had some relationship with. I wasn't doing it blind, and I wouldn't do it blind. I don't think that's effective. I think you have to have some rapport going. But I was Facebook messaging and asking them if they wanted to see the Zillow killer. And so I was able to get a good group of people that way. Someone's chatting while we're chatting. Anyway, Ashley Johnson, I'm muting you. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Any rate, long and short of it is here's the thing. We have like a new headline every day, do we not? Like Coldwell Banker having a new logo, or they had their NRT convention with Coldwell Banker and Century 21 and Sotheby's in the same room, and Redfin partnering with Remax. There's something every week that it's almost difficult for us to keep up with, and yet every one of those industry headlines from Inman or Risk Media or wherever you're getting your data is actually a recruiting conversation. And so I guess what I'm doing, and Kimberly is one of my fellow team leaders in our area, we really challenge each other to kind of keep up with what the heck's going on and what does it mean and how would we translate this into both of our agents and to recruits. So you have a new headline every week to use. I started with the Zillow killer, which is something that you can go on to Inman and just search Zillow killer, and there's a great article about Keller Williams and what we're doing. I switched gears then and went to Compass Purchasing Contactually, which is the database for Remax and all of Realogy. So I'm using those headlines as my in, either to have a conversation or to really get them to look at what's going on and understand it. The other part to that, though, is you could simply reach out to anybody and say, hey, would you like some intel on Open Door, Purple Brick, OfferPad? We put together a great bit of information for our own agents to be able to protect their own commission. Would you like me to share that with you? Would you like to do like a 15-minute Zoom? So I have a reason for us to get together, and usually it's pretty interesting, and then I pivot quickly, and I can role play that with you right now if you'd like. I can't hear you. Kimberly, can you hear? Kimberly, do you want to role play this with me then, since I can hear you?
Will you take that?
Kimberly, will you unmute so I can role play it with you then?
Yeah, I can't hear Susan, and I now can hear you.
Okay, so because we couldn't hear you, let's role play since we're recording, and I hate for someone not to be able to hear. Are you cool with that?
Awesome. Go girl.
Kimberly, are you cool with being okay? So you're a Remax agent, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just pretend that Kimberly said she would Zoom with me because she wants to know what's going on with whatever. Open Door, Purple Brick, Zillow. Hey, let's talk about Zillow, since you and I know so much about Zillow. So I'm going to say that I reached out to Kimberly and said, hey, did you hear about Zillow 2.0? They're now our live competitor. Do you want the intel on that? And she said, yes, let's Zoom. So let's just say that's what we said, and that's where we're at. Sound good?
Good.
Okay, Kimberly, I'm so glad that we got a chance to connect because it's wild right now. Can you believe what's going on?
What do you mean?
So effective actually last week, Zillow in Phoenix is a full-fledged brokerage, start to finish, search to close, competing with the realtors in Phoenix, and their next target market is Tampa.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yes. In fact, what I'll do is I'll send you a few really interesting articles about it after our call. I'll just share with you kind of the news feed on it. And this is actually coming from Richard Barton. He's the CEO of Zillow. And, he's got an interesting background because he developed Expedia.
Oh.
Now, what did Expedia do to travel agents?
Oh. Took them out of the market.
Exactly. So for the last several years, he's been positioning Zillow. And he was just interviewed, and the question the interviewer asked is, this was your plan all along, wasn't it? And he said, that's right. It was always our strategy to bide our time. I can't remember if you named the process. You've been talking a lot about Netflix recently. And so he goes on and on and on. I'm not going to read it to you right now because it's boring. But basically he said, and this is really interesting. We should share this with everybody on the call. We'll share the full article. But basically, he said it was like going and being invited into someone's home as a house guest, and eating their casserole and sleeping over and becoming friends. And last thing you know, you're too big of an elephant to kick out, and you never intend to leave. That was his article. That was his new way of saying what he always intended to do. So he kind of brags about how he always intended to take the realtor out, and yet he thought it was kind of funny how they all financed it all along the way with buying leads and supporting Zillow. Isn't that creepy?
Yeah, I'm not a big Zillow fan. I hate those estimates.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is you now need to be equipped to compete with it.
I agree. I don't like that article at all.
Well, and here's the thing that's most concerning, and you may know this already, or you may not be aware, but Redfin really is positioning themselves the exact same way as Zillow, and your company just partnered with Redfin.
Yeah, I know. They said we're going to get a bunch of leads. I'm kind of excited about that.
Well, there's always benefit of that, and actually, did we not get a bunch of leads from Zillow?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we did. We had to pay for them too.
Yeah, well, and you have to pay for your leads as well. They're not a gift. You just get a discounted rate for the lead. You still have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. What's stopping Redfin from making the same pivot in the near future that Zillow has?
Well, we have an agreement with them, right? They're going to give us the lead. So, I mean, what do you mean they're trying to be the Zillow? Like, I don't quite understand that. Because our office is saying how great this is.
Well, and it seems great, just like it seemed great when we bought leads from Zillow, because it was kind of like a cost of lead gen, right? You got leads and no big deal, and yet they made the pivot. So I know that your agreement's for 2 years, and after that 2 years, who knows? And so really they're positioning it. It's something for you to be made aware of. The other challenge is I know your office is full of rock stars. I mean, you guys are notoriously great. So, and I pulled your production. You're a great agent. I mean, if I was to hire you to sell my home, what kind of commission do you typically charge?
Oh, for selling side, 6%.
Okay. So how does it come across if you and I are old chums, and I maybe even did a transaction or two with you, and you're now partnered with a 1% or 1.5% company?
Well, I'm not doing it for 1.5%.
Well, don't you feel that now instead of maybe paying you 6, I might ask you for the 1 or 1.5% deal?
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. I guess they could. That's just not my business model.
So if I'm a good friend of yours and in the past we've done transactions and you refuse to do that, would I go to Redfin?
I don't know.
I mean, you're partnered with them.
Yeah, that's true. I
just want to wake everyone up because there's a lot of change going on in this industry, and I'm doing the same for all the agents I care about. So this is just a care call to you because, it sounds good and it seems to you to be true, and potentially it is at that point. So I'm going to share with you after our call several articles that I haven't written, obviously, but I've done all the research for you so that you can get a little bit more equipped with not the smoke and mirrors that we're all seeing, but the truth behind it, because there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Open Door, OfferPad, Purple Bricks. I've got great intel on all of them for you so that I can help you and support you in protecting your business.
So you think Redfin's going to take over my business?
Yeah. The only thing they're missing was the data, and now your company has provided them the data they were needing.
Oh.
Something to think about. It's just something to think about. I just want you to be aware because, a lot of agents just don't know about any of this. So I kind of want to take you through a scenario. And before I do that, I just want to get better acquainted with your business so I can help translate it to how it impacts you. So real quickly, I didn't get a chance to really look up your business. Paint me a picture of your business and your team.
Sure. So it's, we do about 15 million a year.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Yep, and it's an admin, and I have a buyer's agent.
Okay, great. And then let me just paint me a picture. I mean, obviously you're partnered with Redfin now. What do you do for, how do you run your business? Do you have a database, a CRM that you use, a platform that you use? What do you use?
I have Top Producer that I use.
Oh, great. How long have you been on Top Producer?
Gosh, I've been in business for about 9 years, so I think I've been on it about the last 4 or 5 years probably.
Okay, and then what is your monthly spend on that or annual spend on that? Do you pay about $99 a month or?
I guess so, probably. We might do a couple extras, so $100, $150 a month.
Okay, yeah. If you have your admin, it's an extra It's an extra $49. Do you do anything else besides Top Producer? Do you have like BombBomb or Follow Up Boss or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we use BombBomb. BombBomb is we use that. We do.
What kind of financial commitment is that? I'm not real sure.
Well, we've been with them for a while, so I don't know either. I mean, we just pay a monthly fee for BombBomb, and I think that's
like $50 or $100.
Yes, yeah, 50. Yeah, it's not very much.
And then what else do you do? I mean, what else do you spend money on besides, obviously paying your commission to Remax?
So we boost ads a lot. We do a lot of stuff on like Facebook and Instagram and even LinkedIn. We do, yeah. We do stuff with our marketing, right? We'll do just listed, just sold marketing. So we pay a lot. We pay for that.
So you do that through postcards or through online marketing or both?
Both. We'll do the postcards when we just list just sold, but then when we touch our database, we'll use different formats.
Okay, cool. Are you getting a good return on your social media marketing?
Well, what's considered a good return?
Do you know your return?
No.
Okay, that's fair because most people don't. And then what about postcards? How many postcards a month do you think you send out, or what kind of financial commitment is that?
It's a lot. We have several neighborhoods that we farm, and then every time we get a listing with 15 million, we're putting something out there. So we're probably spending, I don't know, upwards of $500 to $600 a month, probably.
Got it.
Maybe.
What about now? Your admin, is she the gal or guy that does all that for you, or do you have that outsourced?
It's outsourced, yet she runs it.
Okay. Who do you outsource it through?
You'd have to ask her. She brings it to me and I approve them.
I hear you. So like, let's just say you did a rock star job and you sold a listing in 10 days over ask, and you wanted to obviously brag about it in that neighborhood. How much time commitment does she have in from second she starts creating that postcard or that collateral to it being sent out? How much time do you think is involved in that?
She probably spends several hours doing it, 2 to 3 hours. That's my guess, because she'll say, if this, well, I have got to spend some time doing this because you want this out today.
Right. That seems to be about on par with everything I'm hearing. When you look at your admin, how much of a commitment is that then? Is she like $15 an hour, $20 an hour? What kind of?
She's 15 with bonus.
Okay, so maybe you end up spending like $17 or $18 an hour with her?
Probably.
Okay.
15 to 20. Yeah.
And then let me ask you this. What do you wish you were doing with your business right now that you're not currently?
I have a lot of referrals that I get, and I get those very organically. I don't do a lot of work with them. So that's one area that I really need to kind of focus in on.
Cool. So do you have like a part of your database from another segment of the market or out of state? Is there a target area?
No, I just focus on this area.
No, but like for referrals, like I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, so I've got a whole crew of people up there that I target. Is there any part of your database that you are targeting for opportunity with referrals, or would be if you could?
You know what? I don't spend a lot of time on that. I guess I have several areas that I could.
What's your best area?
I'm sorry?
What would be the best area that you could?
DC. I was in DC for the last 10 years ago for 10 years before I came out here.
There's probably a lot of opportunity there. DC is an awesome market.
Yes.
Very cool. Okay, great. That'll help me translate kind of what I'm showing you. So let's just dive in, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of information just to make sure you're on the same page and kind of catch you up with what's going on in the industry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. It's going to take a second to pop up. And when I do, you're going to be able to see what's going to be called the fourth industrial revolution.
Okay.
And it's a great way of explaining what's going on, and that's why I put this together. And so can you see my screen, my PowerPoint?
I can.
You can. Okay, great. So this is a visual aid that I help explain what's going on, because not a lot of agents really have their arms wrapped around it. They know there's like a lot of chaos in our industry. There's a lot of change. There's all these new players in town. There's a lot of people moving and a lot of companies making quick changes. And yet, why? And the reality is this is what is being called the fourth industrial revolution, where the world has changed because of artificial intelligence and big data. And when I say that, it's like want to some folks. So I get if you're not quite catching what I'm saying. So I want to give you some examples. So, you and I are about the same age. We grew up in the 80s, and I don't know about you, but Friday nights we used to go to the movie store, Blockbuster or whatever, and roam the aisles and pick our movie for the weekend. And I used to get in big trouble with my parents because I'd always forget to return the movies on Sunday and get late fees and all that. Were you that girl too?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to get in trouble with that too.
Me too. And now what do we have?
Yeah. Is there a Blockbuster even out there anymore?
No, there isn't. So Blockbuster, what we say, got Netflixed. And that is an example of artificial intelligence and big data. I mean, I don't know about you, but I binge watch a lot of nature shows. So if you go to my house and you look at my Netflix, it's going to be a bunch of nature shows. You know, and yet it can tell what I'm going to like and already kind of promote the next show. And then you look at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, you know, Amazon took over. You look at travel industry, Expedia, Booking.com, whatever you use kind of took over. So what happened with these changes, like Netflix, there's not going to be a bunch of blockbusters built ever again. It literally changed that industry, didn't it?
Yes.
And there's more. We could talk about ride services. Like, which do you use, Uber or Lyft?
Whichever one is can get to me faster and the best price.
Yeah, exactly. And you have the ability on an app to check both, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you imagine calling a taxi service?
Only when I have to, and that's not fun.
Right. And then think about shopping. I don't know about you, but there's an Amazon Prime box in front of my door nearly every day.
Yes.
True. And people have gone as far as with their investments. So, you know, it's not just us spending $9 on a movie. It really has changed in the sense that people have taken even their e-trading online into their own hands to save the money. And, you know, instead of calling your guy from Edward Jones, you know, they're on e-trader. So do you understand how those industries are completely changed now that that pivot has been made?
Oh yeah.
And we could go on. There's so many more that we could even talk about. And yet it's changed. So our industry's right at that spot where it's kind of an awkward, chaotic time to be because we're going through that change right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Does that make sense to you?
It does, yeah.
So basically, when we look at this industry, back in the 80s, on the far left side, we just had agents. And then we evolved and we had the MLS. We went from the MLS book to the online MLS with Realtor.com. And then we've evolved even further with Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia. And those companies really believe it's going to continue to go to the right and where tech takes over our industry altogether. Now, can you believe Can you imagine that happening?
No, I can't imagine any of my clients would want to just swipe right and buy a house. I just don't see that.
Well, let's just be honest. Just think of your last transactions. How many fires did you put out? How many times were you necessary to get involved in the transaction to keep it together, put it back together? Seriously, right?
A ton. Yes, exactly.
So I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that tech is going to take over. And yet we know it's not ever going to go back to what it was with just agents. So right now there's a battle going on. And it's the companies that really feel that tech trumps agents versus agents trumping tech. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, we've been battling like this for a while. We've had Realtor.com and Trulia and Zillow for some time. And what they did is they positioned initially as a search engine, and for collecting leads and selling them to us, they would take 30 to 40% of the transaction. Fair?
Yes, fair.
Many of us did it. Now what's happening is these companies are popping in like Redfin, Compass, Purple Brick, Open Door, OfferPad, and now Zillow Offer Now, which is an iBuy company, and all these other discounters that are popping up left and right. You got List Smart, you've got RP Funding. I mean, you and I could go on and list these guys that are coming out of the woodwork. And their goal is just to lower the fee to a point that you are not as desirable as an agent. Why would I pay Kimberly 6% when I could just do it for a flat fee or 1%? And that's the push you're getting right now.
Yes, it is.
Are you running into anyone in particular?
Right now in our area, Redfin's been really, I mean, this, it's been really, a lot out there. And Open Doors, I mean, they contacted my seller, or my seller contacted them, and then he tells me, of course.
Right. So here's what's interesting, and I want to give you this collateral as well. This is a visual aid that I provided to all of our agents straight from the MLS. And what it does is it compares our office sales compared to those brokerages that you just listed. Now, obviously, we're kicking butt, right? You can see that we're selling a lot of real estate.
And
Yeah.
And yet, the reality is if we look at this, our office is really out competing them. But why I pulled this number is not only just to show our success so that you can kind of defend your commission and defend your abilities, but in this, right from the MLS, it shows the actual true commission or true total fee in dealing with these other discounters. So, like, for example, you had said Redfin. Well, Redfin, when it's all said and done with all their fees, in our market right now, they end up paying 2.74.
Oh.
Our office, this Clearwater office, it's actually 2.55. So it's actually cheaper to list with one of my agents than one of these said discounters. Interesting, isn't it? Would you like me to send this to you?
Yes, I'd love it.
So here's the thing I'm kind of nervous for you for, and I'm just being completely transparent. The fact that you don't know this and no one's telling you about it right now.
Yeah, that actually concerns me because a lot that, of course they're touting how great this new merger is and the fact that I'm running up against these people. No one's told me this kind of stuff at all.
Yeah. Well, and so I want to share with you really what's going on. It's not me telling you. And what I want to show you is I'm going to switch my screen and show you inman.com. Now, I'm a subscriber. I don't know if you are, so I'm just going to bring up some headlines for you to see. We've got Bold coming to town, too, if you want to be a guest. I'll send you an invite to it. It's a great class that you can consider going to.
Check in. Let's.
Somebody's talking over us.
And catch up. Bye.
Okay, well, we'll keep going. So if you go to Inman News, you can get some great information on really what's going on. And I'll be sure to share some of these articles with you in case you're not a subscriber. And yet, for your company, if you bring up Remax and Redfin, it really breaks down the very unlikely ally and partnership that you guys have formulated. And I think that it would be good for you to take a little bit of time and read that article. So I'll definitely share that with you because it kind of talks about what you and I talked about already today.
Mm-hmm.
And yet at the same time, I just want to meet a couple people here.
I don't know all of the stories that happen on the back end. Obviously,
I'm reading your story, wherever you are.
Hang on.
The other thing I want to show you, though, is when you research Keller Williams, we're being called the Zillow killer because of our new tech and our new platform. So, when you look at what your company's doing, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's kind of a precarious move. Whereas with Keller Williams, Gary Keller, 4 years ago, predicting all this was going to happen, started talking to us about it 4 years ago. And was positioning us to be prepared for it. Okay.
Right.
So I'll share both of those articles after we meet because the things that come to mind that I'm concerned about is not only that you're partnered with kind of an arch enemy of the industry, Redfin.
I guess so. Yeah.
But you'd mentioned to me that your database is a top producer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who owns Top Producer?
I don't know. Top producer?
Realtor.com.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So every time you put in a new buyer lead or seller lead, who has your data?
Better not be realtors.com.
Well, what do you think? So we've had to build our own platform at Keller Williams, and Gary Keller made a significant investment, $1 billion commitment to build the Zillow killer. And you can see the Zillow killer on my screen now, I believe. Let's make sure you can see it.
Yep.
So a couple things. He did this for a couple reasons. Number one, so we could no longer be tied into companies that do not have our best interest in mind, like Top Producer. Okay. Number two, so we could save the money that we may have been spending on that. You're not spending a ton on Top Producer. Top Producer is pretty affordable. Yet many agents, even in your office, are on Boomtown or Tiger Leads or different platforms where they're spending like $2,000 a month.
Yeah, those are expensive. I've been looking at that.
Yeah, they're great. They're worth it because you can run your team efficiently, you can run your business efficiently, and that's why people are doing it. And yet at the same time, if you didn't have to spend that money and you didn't have to worry about where your data was, would you be happier about that? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the third element of it is just to make us better. So like, let's just talk about Facebook and your postcards, for example. Those are the two big spends you have. And you had shared that, you don't know exactly what your return is, but you're doing the Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So just to show you how quickly you can do that and efficiently you can do that on the Zillow Killer, let me just drive around and show you some stuff real quick, okay? So first of all, I'm going to bring up a contact. Now, how up to date do you think your database is?
Pretty up to, I mean, I don't know, probably not as up to date as it could be.
Well, and let's just be honest. Do you like spending time entering people into your database or having your admin do that?
Yeah, no, I don't do, yeah.
Right, you want to poke your eyeballs out if you're doing that. So one of the things that's really neat about this is when we hire you and we actually bring you into our company, we set all this up for you. And literally all we're doing is connecting you to where you have your data.
Oh, wow.
So like BombBomb and Top Producer, we'd be able to sync all that in so that you wouldn't lose anything or have any stress around a move, and yet it would always be accurate. So when I add someone to Gmail or to Facebook, or I add someone into my phone, they're automatically put into the database in real time.
Yeah.
It is. Let's just realize how much better we are by doing that, because if you're in your car and you get a sign call, are you more apt to put that person in your phone or what?
Yes, that's where I put it.
Exactly. So now they would automatically go in here.
So it goes from one to the other?
Yeah, it syncs in real time. So I'll just pick on a contact. This is my sister. I'll pick on my sister just so you can kind of see it. So in here, everything syncs in, and I have her phone number and her email, and this is her property address. This is her apartment. And she lives in a small little town in Wausau, Wisconsin. And I'll just take some of this off and just show you like interactively how we can play along with this. Because one of the big challenges is staying in contact with your database, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But also doing it in a meaningful way where you're not just spamming them with newsletters and things that they don't really care about. Or, I mean, do you really write the newsletters you send?
No.
No. So let's be honest. That's one of the biggest challenges we face as realtors. So one of the cool things that are added into this is you can hit Add Neighborhood and View Map. Because I have her address, it targets her specific neighborhood. Wow. And so say she kind of wants to keep up to speed what's going on in her neighborhood and maybe a couple neighborhoods around her. And I know she really wants to buy an investment property near her daughter, so I'll bring up that town real quick. I can kind of find out from my sister, like, what's important to you? Where would you maybe want some information? And I know she wants to buy a property in downtown Madison, so I'll throw a couple of those on. And maybe there's one other property or one other area she wants to know about, like maybe where I live, because she loves Florida. I can hit save, and now my sister will get an update every month or as frequently as I want her to through my actual mobile app or email or Gmail or text, whichever communication method is good for my sister. And what will happen, this will take just a second to load because I picked like every community around. So give it a sec. But when it loads, you'll see that my sister at any time will be able to click on her app and get this information instantaneously up to the minute accurate. And yeah, and so I think my Wi-Fi is a little slow, so we'll give this a sec. Oh, here we go. So here's my sister's neighborhood right here. Here's what's going on in her neighborhood. There's currently 32 listings. 3 have sold, so you can kind of see what's going on with days on market, all that. Wisconsin, so you can see snow pictures, which make me want to never move back. And she can look at anything for sale, get all the details, view the property, and even if she wanted to, request a showing for maybe Saturday and hit next, fill out the details, and I'm going to get that lead. Everything, of course, is going to represent me, but she's got the power to kind of flip-flop between the different neighborhoods that she may have had interest in to see kind of the difference of what's going on and compare what is going on. She can also search from here the entire MLS. And yeah, it's really slick. So instead of sending spammy things to my sister, I can now send things of meaning. And what's really neat is, let's just say I have everybody in my database on a neighborhood snap like this. Every day I work real estate, I could just quickly go to last visited and see who has been interacting with the information I've been sending them. So not only with your pipeline, but your actual database, you can kind of see who maybe you need to reach out to or who might be a likely candidate. Isn't that cool?
So it's going to show me who clicks on those things?
You got it. Now let's switch gears because I don't want to take too much of your time and I know we only have a few more minutes. And I want to quickly show you a postcard. Now you had shared that you spend a significant amount of your budget every month on postcards. Mm-hmm. And you have, you know, quite a bit of time with your talent, your admin doing that. So, and you had said it was about 3 hours for you to do a single postcard. Now, if I was your admin and I was on command doing a postcard, I could simply go into Lead Accelerator, which is a lead generation platform, create new, and then say maybe it's 123 Main Street. And I could decide what I want to do. Say it's a Facebook ad, Instagram, whatever. Maybe it's a postcard. I can decide, and in this case, I'll show you a postcard. And I can decide what the point of the postcard is. Is it to attract listings or advertise your listing? I'm assuming you're going to go for attract listing. And from here, all my listings would appear. Now, because I don't compete with my agents, I'm going to quickly just show you an example. I pick whichever template I like. And you can get mailed first class as cheap as 79 cents, which I know is a lot cheaper than what you're paying.
Oh, yeah.
And then automatically all the information from the MLS fills in, and then you hit next. Now, because I'm not making a postcard right now, I'm going to miss a step, but that's one of the best steps because you're able, like Google Analytics, to be able to chisel down the neighborhood to the actual neighbors you want to mail to. So say, for example, you don't really want to market to 200 homes, but you really want to market to homeowners that have owned their home for 4 or more years, the blah, 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 whatever, you know, statistics you want. And you're able to take a neighborhood of 200 or 250 and chisel it down to 47 postcards or 23 postcards, the postcards you really intended to send, and you're able to save a lot of money. And really, in less than 15 minutes, get that out the door.
Wow.
I know. So there's a lot of value to the Zillow killer, and yet I want you to understand why we're doing it. We're doing it because our industry needs some change to happen, and I'm really proud that I'm representing a company that's pulling our industry through this. It's really a unique position to be in, and I really would love to share with you more about it. I know we only have a few more minutes left, but would you have interest in doing a one-on-one sit-down, and I could maybe give you a little bit more of this content that we talked about?
Yeah, I think I would like to see a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be an alarmist by any means, but I hope you found some value in what I shared with you today.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So, you know, would you be free maybe tomorrow at like 9 or 10 to grab coffee together, or do you want, or even maybe come to my office?
Yeah, I can come by tomorrow.
Okay, great. That's basically it, guys.
Good job, Jessica.
Or if I was really getting you, I'd be like, so do you think you need to make a move? You know, depending on how you're with me, I have closed on Zoom before, but I haven't gotten that good yet. I'm working on it.
You did great.
You're awesome. So Jessica, can you hear me?
I can't quite hear you, Susan.
Okay. Hang on a second. Jessica, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Fantastic. So Kimberly, thank you so much for pinch hitting in there. And Jessica, you did awesome. That was fantastic. I would really just like everyone to take a minute and think about what's one thing you could do this week that could move you forward with this presentation. And Jessica, you're going to send out the recording as well as the deck of what you were sharing there. We've talked about that. So on behalf of MAPS, because we're a little bit over time, I just want to thank you so much for, no, I would not have stopped it. I want to thank you and Kimberly so much for doing a great presentation, and we're all going to get better together with this, okay? Thank you so much for wonderful week, Jessica.
Yeah, and I just put something in the chat box. So if you guys want to send your ahas, go ahead and pop them in. The chat's at the very bottom. You guys, this is stuff that you need to start using. The Zoom is very simple, and you can get like a free membership for it.
Yeah, and practice on your new agents. Just do what I did on your agents, and they'll start sending you referrals, and it'll make life a lot easier for you. So take care.
Take care, girl. Thank you. Bye-bye.